Good morning, Year 4, and welcome to the second day of reading this week. Today we will be answering our literal questions about our text, Escape from Pompeii. Before we answer the questions, we're going to need to recap our vocabulary. So, if you would like to, pause me now, read through the words again, and remind yourself of our actions from yesterday, because I'm about to test you on them. So, either pause me now or continue the video if you feel ready. Okay, if you're here now, I expect that you're ready to test your actions and your knowledge of the vocabulary. So I'm going to show an action, and I would like you to tell me what word that action relates to. So here is action number 1. Well done if you shouted out haggling. My turn, your turn, haggling. Haggling. So haggling, of course, means to bargain or argue over differences in price. It might be something else, but it's usually to do with price. Okay, my second action for you. Well done if you said unloading. My turn, your turn, unloading. Unloading. Excellent. So unloading obviously means to remove the load from. So it's the opposite of loading. And then my third action for you is, well done, the word is protector. 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 So protector is a person or something that guards against harm or danger. Well done. Now I'm going to say 3 of our vocabulary words, and I'd like you to do the action. So my first word that I'd like you to do the action for is glimmered. Well done, so you should be doing the action for glimmered like this, imagining the stars glimmering in the sky. My second word for you is grumble. Well done, so if you are rubbing your belly like you've got a grumbling belly, means to make a noise like a rumble, then you're doing the right action. And my last one for you is humming. Well done, so nice, simple last one. Obviously, we make a humming noise. Excellent, well done everybody. So that was just a quick recap of our vocabulary for this week. The 2 words we didn't do on there were looming, which is a verb, which means to appear or come into view, often as very large, dim or threatening, and squat, which is to sit on one's heels or to crouch low to the ground with the knees bent. So let's move on to your do now. You either have this on your task sheet or you can just copy out the sentences in your notebook. So you just need to replace the word in bold with a synonym so that the sentence makes sense. So a synonym is a word that means the same or a very similar thing. So pause me now and complete your do now. Okay, welcome back. Let's have a look at a few possible answers that you might have chosen. So the first one, the sentence was, the streetlight glimmered in the darkened street. So a couple of potential answers. You could have had sparkled or glittered. So remember, glimmered means to give off a light, but that it's a bit unsteady or dim. So if you can imagine the stars, that would be a good example of glimmered. So also we might say the stars sparkled or glittered. Okay, the second one was the class started to grumble when they received extra homework. So this is grumble in a different context to it being about a stomach grumbling. You might also grumble if you're moaning or complaining about something. So the class started to moan when they received extra homework, or the class started to mumble when they received extra homework would work there. But moan is probably the stronger word. The next one was they looked at the dark castle looming before them. So you could have replaced looming with emerging, appearing, or towering. Towering is quite a good one, as we can imagine the building or the dark castle kind of towering over them. And your last one was loyal men fought for the chance to be the protector of the king. So you could have had the guard of the king, the guardian of the king, or the defender of the king. You might have had some other options, so just check with somebody at home if they think that makes sense in the sentence. Okay, so today we are answering our literal questions. So I'm going to model an example under the visualizer before you go off and do these yourself. So let's recap our steps to success first of all. So step 1 is to underline keywords in the question. 2 is to skim and scan the text for keywords. 3 is to read around the keywords. Obviously, then you write down your answer. 4, you check your answer makes sense. And 5, does it answer the question? So let me flip to the visualizer. I've got my question written down. Okay, so let me just make that a little bit more focused. So my question was, and yes, my notebook does have ears, list 2 things Tranio listened to. Okay, I know I'm looking on page 1. My first step is to underline keywords in the question. So I've got my question, list 2 things. So 2 is a keyword. I can't just put 1 thing, and it doesn't want 3 things. It wants 2 things. Tranio listened to. So what was he listening to? So let's go back to my text. So I've done step 1, which is to underline keywords in the question. Let's now go to step 2, skim and scan text for keywords. So 2 probably isn't going to crop up. That's just reminding me how many things that I need to have down. But the word listened should do, and Tranio should also be around there. So let me scan my text. Aha, listened. Get that underlined. So from his window, young Tranio listened to the noise humming from bars, taverns and shops around him, and to the busy tradesmen haggling in the streets below. So I found my keyword of listened, and number 3 was to read around the keywords, which I've just done. So let's see what that produces. Tranio listened to the noise humming from bars, taverns and shops around him, and to the busy tradesmen haggling in the streets below. Okay, so I have my 2 reasons there. I've read the text. This is describing what Tranio is listening to. So now I just need to copy this down into my answer. I'm going to be really careful to copy down what it says in the text. So Tranio listened to my first one was the noise humming from bars. Bars, taverns and shops. And then my key word in this one is my conjunction and, because it wants 2 reasons. And he listened to the busy tradesmen haggling in the streets below. And that's a really good example for the use of our key vocabulary word haggling. So the tradesmen are haggling, they are bartering and arguing over the money that they're selling their goods for. Full stop. Okay, so I've written my answer down. Right, step number 4 is to check my answer makes sense. I'm going to read it back out loud. Tranio, so there's 2 things Tranio listened to. Tranio listened to the noise humming from bars, taverns and shops, and the busy tradesmen haggling in the streets below. That makes sense. And does it answer the question? Well, it does, because it's telling me what Tranio listened to, and I have 2 things. So I'm happy with that answer. Okay, so it's now going to be your turn. So either you can go away and complete the activity on the task sheet, which is attached to the home learning document, or if you're not able to print it and you would rather read the questions from the slides, I'm going to go through them now. Pause me after each one, and then I'd like us all to come back together at the end where I'm going to go through the answers, okay? So either pause me and fast forward to the video when you're ready for the answers, or continue watching and pause whilst I go through the questions now. So you've got questions 1, 2 and 3 on here. You also have your steps to success, so please follow them. It's going to be a little bit different for the first question. So pause me now to answer 1, 2 and 3. Okay, welcome back. Well done for answering those. Let's move on. Here is question 4. So which statements are true or false? You've got 4 statements. Answer if they're true or false. Pause me now. Okay, welcome back. Let's move on. Questions 5 and question 6. Remember to use your steps to success. Pause me now. Okay, and then questions 7 and 8. Okay, welcome back. So you might have been doing this task on the sheet, or you might have just been doing it from the slides, pausing as we went through. I'm now going to go through the answers, so make sure you have a different coloured pen, everything's completed, and you are ready to mark. Okay, let's have a look. So question 1 was a bit different from the other ones. We couldn't really use our steps to success for this one. It's just drawing on our knowledge. What kind of text is this? So the correct answer was fiction. Now this might have been a bit of a tricky one because we know that non-fiction is usually about real stories and real events. But the thing is, this book about Pompeii is not telling us the facts of what happens. It's a fictional story where an authoress has made up some characters. Tranio and Livia, as far as we know, were not real people. They might have been, but we don't have records for that. So they've made up characters in a real-life situation, but it's still a fiction text. It's a story. Question 2. In which city does the story take place? Everybody shout out the answer. Pompeii. Well done. Pompeii. It's even in the title. And question 3. What protected the city? Well done if you said it is Mount Vesuvius. So Vesuvius is described as Pompeii's greatest protector. Okay, let's have a look at question 4. So it was a true or false statements question. So Tranio was an actor. That is false. It says that he was the son of Dion, the actor. So Tranio was not an actor yet. Second statement, Tranio liked to go to the harbour. That's true. We know that he likes to go to the harbour. Question 3, the last earthquake tremors happened before Tranio was born. And again, we know that that is true because it says in the text on page 3, a few years before Tranio was born, there had been a big earthquake in Pompeii. And question 4, Livia was a baker. We know that that is false. She was the baker's daughter. Question 5. List 3 things Tranio watched being unloaded from the ship. So you should have gone to page 2 for this. The answers you might have had were wine, oil and spices, or fish. So you needed 3, well there's 3 things. So make sure that you had 3 things. Question 6. What did Tranio like to do in the forum? This was on page 3. So out of your 3 options you had, it was listen to politicians. So it says at the top of page 3, sometimes Tranio went to the forum to watch the politicians make their speeches. It doesn't mention slaves and it doesn't mention fighting. So if you had skimmed and scanned the text, you should have noticed that the word on page 3 was politicians. Question 7, what did Livia like to do with Tranio? So there were 2 correct answers here. The answers were play knucklebones and to chase dogs. And that's right at the bottom of page 4. So it also mentions that Livia spent most of her time learning to weave and to cook, but that's not what she liked to do with Tranio. And then match the correct statements at the bottom together. Tranio hid in the harbour, poets sang, and Livia learned how to cook. So well done guys. You've completed the literal questions for this week. If you would like to do the extension, myself and your teachers would love to read them. So the extension today is to write a sentence predicting what you think might happen next in the story and why. We would love you to do this, and who knows, some of you might even be right. Okay, so well done for today. We look forward to reading your answers on Seesaw, but make sure that you mark them yourself first. So obviously go back to the answers bit if you missed a few of those, use a different coloured pen, edit and mark it yourself. That would be fantastic. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of your lessons.